Hello everyone. Today we're going to make a greeting card. I made this card with a new stamp set that I got, and I posted it in my team group that for Close to My Heart, and they wanted to know how I did it. I tried typing up the directions, but it wasn't as clear as mud, so I figured I would try to show you the best I could. Now, I don't have a way to show you on my computer with the Cricut design space. That's something that I haven't figured out how to do yet with the recording of a computer screen. So I'll do my best to just show you what I did. The reason I made this card is I've been seeing what they call Eclipse cards all over Facebook, on Pinterest, and on YouTube. And there's a couple different ways people do it. Sometimes they just cut these letters out with die cuts, and then they pop them out with foam tape. I don't have alphabet die cuts, and so I decided to come up with my own way of doing a pop out where it looked like it was a die cut because I like the look of it, but it's not something that I want to go out and buy a whole set of alphabet die cuts to just do one card. I mean, and plus I could do this, you know, different fonts and everything because I used my Cricut. So what I did on Cricut Design Space is let me pull my mat down here. I created a card base here, which is 5 1/4 by 4 1/2. And what I did was I played with some fonts that I liked, and this one is, well, I'm not even going to try to pronounce what it's called. I wrote it down, but I will post it in the description box below. I think it was a free font that I downloaded. If not, it might have been a system font, but I will make sure I put the information below. So what I did was I created a rectangle in Design Space at 5 1/4 by 4 inches, and then I played with some fonts until I found one that I liked. And the reason why I picked the word dream is because I have this stamp set called Make Waves Scrapbooking Day to Day, and it's a Close to My Heart stamp set. The word dream was in here, but of course it was way too small to do what I wanted to do. So I took the word dream and I created it in Design Space, and for this particular word here I ungrouped it and squished it together so that it would fit centered inside here. Now these are the same exact size, it's just they're spread out because I didn't need to, you know, squish them together. These are 1 1/2 inches tall, so they're all the same size. And so I'll explain to you how I did this, and I was thinking about it earlier and I forgot, but I should have cut this mirror imaged because, and I'll explain that to you in just 1 second. Well, actually I'll explain it to you right now. I should have cut it in mirror image because it would be easier to take it off the mat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some painter's tape because it does seem to work well. And I'm going to stick it on my hoodie here because I'm stamping in the basement. It's a little chilly down here, so I'm going to get some of the, you know, sticky, make it a little linty so it doesn't completely rip up my paper. Now this is not special cardstock in any stretch, by any stretch of the imagination. I have not ordered any Close to My Heart cardstock. Because it's just something I haven't done yet. I've been focusing on collecting stamps because that's my favorite thing anyway. So this is actually just white cardstock that I bought off the shelf at Walmart. It's not anything fancy. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just adhere the letters to the front of the card here. And this is just going to keep everything in its place so it doesn't move. And my mat is losing its stickiness, so yes, I've been using Post-it tape or painter's tape here to get a little more life out of the mat because I just don't feel like going and digging out a new one. But anyway, so what I'm going to do is now this actually is going to, I should have done this first. Fold this off here. Alright, so that's that, and that's out of the way. Let me just move that. And now let me grab a tool. I'll grab my tweezers and, okay. For the words down here at the bottom, I don't need these center pieces here. I will keep them though for the main image. So I'm going to do my best just to pop these up and hold on to them. And I'll show you what we'll do with those shortly. So we're going to move these off, and I'm going to try to be fairly fast with this card, otherwise you're going to watch me, or it's going to be a very long video, and I don't want it to be a long video. I don't know how to do voiceovers yet. It is something I'm researching. It's just with working full-time and kids keep me busy. Sometimes it's hard to focus on any one project for any great length of time. So I'm going to go ahead and just pull these letters. Oh, come on, you're being stubborn. Alright, so there's that. I guess what I'll probably end up doing is just telling you a little bit about myself while I work on this card, so that way it you're not hearing dead silence, or you're not going to hear my dogs running around upstairs, or my kids for that matter. So we'll just chat. I don't know where my scrape, oh there it is, right in front of my face. So we're going to scrape these off, get them out of the way. Okay. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of rub that on there. I'm just going to be careful to keep it all together, and it may not stick all the way together. I mean, it's easy to put back together, so let's get the mat out of our way. Okay, so we're gonna stick this little image, little piece right here. So what I am gonna do is I'm gonna get another piece of painter's tape, and I'm gonna do the exact same thing on the other side. Now, had I cut this in mirror imaging on the Cricut, I could have skipped this step, but I forgot. I didn't want to waste the cardstock, so let's just get this sticky on here, and let me just put it across here. Now, it's not super sticky, so it doesn't peel up the paper. It does stick to each other, though, so I was trying to miss that. Alright, so I'm going to grab this. I'm just going to kind of hold it in place and peel this off. It's not an exact science, it's just something I found that worked. And like I said, I didn't want to have to buy a die cut set. I saw a Stamping Up video. Oh, it looks like I did tear a little paper off of that, but that's okay because I have an extra. So we'll just pop that one out if we can get it. Let's put another tool. Let's just pop this out of here, and I'll put a one that's not beat up in there. And so, and even if any of these letters get yucky, we have extras cut. So anyway, I did see, there goes my A. I didn't get enough of the paper off. That's okay, we'll fix it. Alright, well, that didn't work as nicely as I wanted, but that's alright, because we can carefully take this off and replace it with one of the other M's that we just cut. Because it's not, they should all be just, they are about the same. They shouldn't really have any differences, because with the Cricut, there isn't a lot of, I mean, it's pretty exact. So we're going to stick one that is not, you know, ripped up inside there. We'll still use this, we'll just use it at the bottom when no one will see it. And we're going to do the same thing with the A. We're going to keep that little piece and put the A up here and get a clean A that doesn't have any rips on it. I guess at this point it wouldn't have mattered if I used the tape. I was just trying to save some time. Now when I did it on the other card example, the original one I showed you, I didn't have that problem. So it must be because I changed the cardstock. The one I had used, it had some texture in it. It wasn't so great for my markers, and it was giving me a hard time. Alright, the rest of those look fine. Let's put a piece to the R back in there, if I can get one with my fingers. There we go. Alright. They go in so much nicely when I'm not trying to do it, I guess. Alright, I'm going to grab some scissors, and I'm just going to trim this off so it doesn't interfere with the stamping process. It doesn't normally, I just don't like it in my way, because I try to get it pretty close to the edge of the paper because I use a stamp press. So this, like I said, this card here is 5 1/4 by 4. There is one thing I do want to do that I didn't do the first time that I should have, and I want to do the inking like I did on the edge here. I want to do that before I stamp. I didn't want to ink on my already colored image, so I'm going to do it first. So let me grab, now this is not a, oh I got some little fuzzes here. This is not a close to my heart stamp or ink pad. This is actually a Tim Holtz Distress ink. It just happened to be one that I picked up when I was playing around with this card. And this one's called Broken China. I'm sure you could use any ink that you want to do the inking. Oh, I'm not doing anything special or using water on here to activate the distress ink or anything, so it really doesn't matter what color you use or what brand you use for this particular card. But I am going to, let me clear my mat really quick so I can use ink, or I'm going to use this brown mat for my mess here. And we will go ahead and ink the edges. Keep getting these little pieces everywhere. There we go. So I'll go ahead and ink this on the edge. I might one day come back to this card and try it with the distress ink and do some fun water effects on there, or use some watercolor paper to do that. So let's just get some inking done here. Oops, I don't like that happened. Just trying to blend that out as much as I can. Happened on my other card too. Sometimes I just don't, I don't know. I haven't inked a card on the edge in a long time, and I guess I gotta practice. I did it again, so there we go. Sometimes those little bumps kind of look neat. They kind of look like water bubbles. Maybe I can just put a couple here. I kind of make it look like it was on purpose. Alright, so let's just rub these out. And then we're going to get on with our card. It'll be okay. So, it's not my favorite, but it'll be alright. So let me move this out of the way. Oh, tools are going to run across the table. Let me make sure we're centered here in the video. Alright, looks pretty good. Okay, so what I did next was stamp. And I do use a stamp press. That way I can stamp a couple times, especially if I don't get a good imprint the first time. This is a Tim Holtz stamp press. I like it. But I do find that because my stamps are a little, because they're still new, I guess, they're a little sticky. Like the acrylic's pretty sticky, so sometimes it wants to pull my paper up. So I may use a little more painter's tape to help with that problem. Let me just get my stamp off here. Because the magnets are very strong. I mean, I've pinched my fingers in them, so I know they're very strong. I just think sometimes my stamps are too sticky and they want to pull the paper up and then pull them right out from the magnets. So, let's see here. There we go. I usually start with all my cards down in this corner. I just like it because then I know it's, if I had to pull it out for some reason and then put it back in, it should go right back to the same exact spot. So let me get these lined up. And then we're going to figure out where we want to put her. Let's move this magnet a minute. Alright, sorry I'm talking to myself. Dakota just came down here to join me, so if you hear anything, that's her. Let's just put this magnet here. Okay, so I kind of like where she is here. It's pretty similar to where I had her on the other card. Sorry, I keep going up and down the stairs, so it's pretty much the same place. I like where it was. So I'm going to grab a little bit of painter's tape just to be safe, because I pulled it up last time and I was mad at myself. So let's just a little extra. Just a little extra. Alright. There we go. Okay. Okay. Let's get our stamp on the stamp platform. And we're all set. Now what ink I'm using, let's make sure we're still centered because I keep moving my mat. Oh, a little Cricut here. Here we go. Okay, I am using a alcohol marker friendly ink. This one is Hero Arts Intense Black. It does not, well, once it's dry, the markers don't seem to make the ink bleed. So we want to keep our ink in the spot where we put it. So I'm going to use a Copic friendly or alcohol marker friendly ink pad. So that's what I'm using. I would not suggest using any dye-based ink pad, because if you're using any alcohol markers, it will bleed. And then you'll have a nice mess. Now as you can see, it did not stamp as clearly as I would have liked. So that's the nice thing about the platform here, is that we can stamp again, and it lines it right up in the same spot where it was each and every time, which is great. So when I saw these, I had to order one. I'm like, this is like the best thing in the whole world. So let's see. I think she looks pretty good this time. So we are gonna let her set for a minute. We wanted to give it a few minutes to dry. I have heard people say as much as 20 minutes. I might just turn my heat gun on and put a little heat on there so it'll dry. I'm going to clean the stamp off. Now anyway, I think I mentioned a little bit ago and didn't finish what I was telling you. I saw a video on YouTube, and when I googled Eclipse cards, because I had kept reading about it on Facebook. So I googled it, and one of the videos that popped up was one from a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and she had used die cuts, and she made a really pretty card with a nativity scene, I believe. And I was like, oh, that's kind of neat. So I just kept scrolling through YouTube and seeing what other people had done. There is a Jennifer McGuire video, and she's done quite a few things, because she was showing, I think it was a video on different ways to use dies, because sometimes they can be costly, and you know, if you buy a whole alphabet set, it could be a costly expense. So I saw a couple things that she did, and I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, I could see that, but again, I still don't have these alphabets in a die. So I have a Cuttlebug, and I have lots of different dies, but alphabet is not one of them. So I decided there's got to be a way that I can still make this card, and that's why I went to my Cricut. I'll look for both of those videos, and I will put them in the description box below, because I did use their videos as an inspiration to make this card. But what Jennifer McGuire did with hers, which was really neat, and I liked it better than the pop dots, is she made them solid. Well, that one didn't glue very well, so we'll make sure we use more glue. But she made these solid, and that's by layering those letters up. So there's 4 blanks underneath, and then the one that's colored on top. So I glued them up and stuck them on there, so that makes them have that 3-dimensional look. It kind of reminds me of like that Hollywood sign. So I really liked the look, and I'm like, well, I'm going to do that with my Cricut. And so that's what I'm doing. So in the meantime, I don't think this is going to be completely dry yet. I'm going to plug in my heat gun, and we're going to make a little bit of noise for a second. Okay. Make it warm. I'm going to do this really quickly because I don't want it to melt. Alright, I'm back. I forgot that my heat gun and my little fireplace here do not like each other, and it just tripped my little circuit breaker. So, anyway, this should be dry. And now, if you know me personally, you know I have a lot of markers. Back when I was in college, I was a fashion design student, and I purchased a lot of Tria Pantone markers, as well as Prismacolor markers. Now, I'm still trying to learn how to use all these alcohol markers, and the Trias are great. The Prismacolors are still just as great. I do have some Spectrum Noir alcohol ink markers, but I have been starting to collect Copic markers. And with such an extensive collection, I wanted to justify whether or not I wanted to buy these. So I bought some, and then I bought a few more. And I do like them because they have a tip on here that's like a paintbrush. And so you can see that there. It's kind of like a paintbrush. And if you look at, like, let's see, a Prismacolor marker, they have like a broad, like let's see here. It's not, it's just like a regular marker tip. It's not soft like a paintbrush. And then on the other end is a broad tip. Now, the Copics have those as well. They're not as broad, but they have a nice chiseled broad tip. And then there's the Tria Pantone markers, which actually have 3 tips, which is great. And I'm probably going to use them all together, to be honest. So I have the wide end here, which is like a chiseled tip. And then I have this tip, which is a regular marker tip. And then I have a really, I'll see if I can get the lid off, like an ultra fine tip there. And so I guess there's perks to all of them. I mean, Tria Pantone follows the Pantone color wheel, or the Pantone, you can look up Pantone colors and those colors follow those Pantone colors. Prismacolors are not as pricey. You can still buy the whole set. You can get their entire set. They just don't have as, I guess, maybe as many markers in the same color family. Like with my markers here, these are all markers that blend let me turn them the other way. These markers blend really well together. So I have markers, I'm still learning which ones blend well with the Prismacolors, and I've had them for years, but I kind of just let them sit on my shelf because, you know, I was using them for design class, and then I decided to change my major, and I just kind of color with them, and I've been just practicing. I've been getting better, so, and I'm hoping just to, you know, to keep perfecting my coloring because I really do enjoy it. But anyway, so we are going to use some of the Copics. We are going to use 2 Prismacolor markers. I'm going to go ahead and start with them. I'm hoping this is dry. Let's just remove this tape and go ahead and put this away for now. Oh, darn it, I knew that was going to happen. We'll fix that. We're going to make our oops look like it wasn't an oops, so I'll fix that. I had so many problems last time I used the press. My stamp was just pulling up the paper every time. It was driving me crazy. So I guess we could just kind of fix that a little bit. Hopefully we'll get a little more ink and fix that. But anyway, let's move on. Hopefully this color doesn't take me too long. I usually start with the lighter color first, and I kind of just outline them. I just recently did a project for my mom for her birthday. She loves Elvis Presley. And I was at Michael's and they found this really fun coloring book. And I think it was called, Cuter, it started with a Q. I will have to post it below. I know you can get it on Amazon. But anyway, it's like a color by number, but it is in circles. So instead of the traditional squares or shapes where you can pretty much see, just, you know, color it in the specified number. This one was circles, and so there are pictures of only 5 colors. So 5 being your darkest, or I'm sorry, 1 being your darkest color, 5 being your lightest color. And you can choose to do like any 5 colors that you want. I chose a monochromatic look because she likes the color teal, and so I used a monochromatic look, or color spectrum, or colors, sorry. I used 5 different colors in the teal color family, and the lightest color was my lightest teal shade, and my darkest color was my darkest teal shade. But anyway, it was I lost my train of thought. Anyway, it was a really cool project to do. It was fun, but it was also kind of hard to do. Like, my eyes were going blurry. I mean, it's not your typical paint by number. But I used some water-based markers. I picked up a pack of, was it Staedtler markers? I got a big pack of them, and I like them, but for big areas like I was coloring, they were a little too streaky for me. So I think one of these days I'm going to color another image in there, and I'm going to try them with some alcohol markers and see how they turn out. So what I'm doing here is I'm using the dark marker and then using the lighter marker to kind of blend it out. I have a hard time determining where exactly my light source is. This mermaid, I kind of imagine that she's sunbathing. I don't know why. It kind of reminds me of the Little Mermaid, like sitting up on the rock, checking out all the humans. So I just kind of, for some reason I have her, like, you know, floating in the water. That's what I keep thinking when I see her. So I think I'm going to have like the light source almost be on top of her as opposed to coming from a specific angle. We'll see how that turns out. Oops, sorry about that. I favor the smaller tips than the broad tips. Once in a while I do use them though for bigger areas, and that's what I think would be nice to use on those color by numbers. I have a Marilyn Monroe, an Audrey Hepburn, Princess Diana, and I think Elizabeth Taylor that I was thinking about coloring. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with all the other images. Maybe I'll let my kids practice on them. But they also had one that was for animals, and my daughter Grace really likes giraffes, so I hope to get one for her. She really likes coloring and whatnot as well. I bought her a set of alcohol markers, and it was, I think, 80 markers. Let's just see here. I'm not really sure what their name is. They're not too bad. They're color representative. The caps are not close to what is in the bottle, so I did swatch them all for her. And she's kind of excited because now she knows, you know, which blues are lighter and darker. And so she's excited to use them. She likes them because they don't get streaky. Those Staedtler pen markers, they did get streaky, and that was the only thing I didn't like about it. But it did make a cool effect on the Elvis picture that I colored for my mom. So okay. Alright, I like the mermaid tail. I like that it's got a little bit of shading on the side, so I think we're going to be done with that. And I just realized that flower didn't stamp perfectly, but that's okay. We'll make it work. So for the flower and the seashells, I am using these markers here. We're going to use R22, R24, and R29. So that's light prawn, and lipstick red. Now, as with the Copics, I do start with the lighter color as well. I kind of like to put in like a, you know, a base shade. And I just build on top of that base color there. Okay. Now, this is what I really just like the way the color lays down with these markers. I wish that all of my markers would do that. These are Copic sketch markers, and I really wish that my Pantones and my Prismacolors would also just, it feels like you're painting to me. So I do like, or I do understand why everyone likes them. Alright, let's go in with our next shade. And we're going to add some color in there. And I'm just going to kind of round off this flower a bit. I mean, even if you liked that flat look, you can definitely do that with these. I mean, some people, I mean, there's so many different levels of coloring out there, and I'm by far just learning here. No, not an expert whatsoever. I wish I was. I love to color, but here we go. So let's, oops, wrong end. So while I'm coloring here, let me see what else I can tell you. I have 4 daughters. My 3 youngest seem to be most interested in doing crafts. My oldest used to be, but you know, now she drives and, wait, that's the dark color. Let's wait on that one. Now, you know, now she drives and she plays club volleyball, and so she stays pretty busy. She did task me with the project of making one of those explosion box cards. I don't think I will record doing that just because I think it's going to take me a while to do, but when it's all done, I think I will record a video to show you what it looks like. I found a video here on YouTube, and I absolutely thought it would be so much fun to do that, and she's going to add all of her personal touches into it. She's going to write little notes and add pictures and do this like scrapbooking part of it, but I get to do the paper crafting part of it, which quite honestly is my favorite part. So I'm probably going to get started on that tomorrow because I got a lot of cutting with cardstock. And I actually had to run to the store today and get poster board because I don't own any paper that is bigger than 12 by 12, and I needed an 18-inch piece square, so that's where we're stuck on that. Grace likes to draw. She's my 13-year-old. Let me grab some more markers here. So she definitely likes to draw. She's also she likes to color too. She's the one I bought the markers for. For the skin tones, I'm going to use E00 and E11. And so let me go ahead and put my base coat down. I keep grabbing the wrong end here. Okay. So Grace likes to draw and color, and she is really interested in video games, and I think I can see maybe some of her artistic abilities as well as her computer skills. I can see her doing something with that in the future. Dakota and Brooke are my twins. Brooke likes to paint, Dakota likes to draw. They both like to be making things with me. We're always doing something together. So I'm surprised they're really not down here trying to get their hands involved in this, just because they think the idea of mom on YouTube is like the coolest thing in the whole wide world. I'm not sure where it's gonna go. I just started my channel. I think it will probably be geared more towards paper crafting, just because that is probably my most favorite hobby. I also am a Girl Scout leader, so I do have videos on there currently of what we did at our Girl Scout meeting, which was really fun, and I found a bunch of ideas online and I shared them all in the video, and even had some stuff that didn't work out, and I shared those too. Like, I had bought some products at Michael's and they just didn't work as advertised, and so I went ahead and shared that as well. And you know, I do really enjoy close to my heart stamps. I love that they are so streamlined. I mean, what I mean by that is the storage space that they take up is next to nothing. You know, when I used to do another company called the Angel Company, and while we had unmounted stamps, they still did take up quite a bit of space for a lot of things. I mean, until I moved them all into CD cases, and then now I have a shelf in here that is CD cases with the stamp sets inside. So I have saved some space. I have purchased stamps from many companies, online, at Michael's, at Joey and Fabrics, at Hobby Lobby, you name it. I think craft stores are they're just my place to go. I love going in there and finding bargains and deals. We had a flower factory near us, and they went out of business. I was able to get a bunch of stuff from them. We had a couple scrapbooking stores in the area that went out of business, and they used to do these phenomenal sales, and you wouldn't think you were going to get anything at these sales, but I'll tell you what, if you recall those larger lunch bags, we're not talking the small ones here, but the larger lunch bags that they're just not those little ones, they're like the wider lunch bags. Anyway, they used to do a sale like once or every month, or I want to say maybe every 2 months, and it was whatever you can fit in that bag you got for like 20 bucks or something, or some ridiculously low rate. I mean, I acquired so much stuff, and I'm still using it, which is great, or I share it with people. I tend to give my mother-in-law a lot of stuff. She's on disability, so I tend to share things with her, or I make things for my mom, or I send cards to friends. I'm just going to put a little pink in her cheek. This is R20. You really can't tell, but it just adds a little blush to that, and I think I didn't grab the wrong marker, but it gives her just a little pink in the cheek. So as far as I'm concerned, her skin looks pretty good, and I like it. Now I'm going to do the hair, and I kind of going to do it upside down because it's right in front of me. Let me grab the colors of brown that I'm going to be using, and I think I'm going to use the 3 lighter shades. So we're looking at E13, E15, and E18. So you can see that they blend well together. We'll start with the lighter shade, and I'll go ahead and give it some coverage, a base coat here. And for this being a basic cardstock that I bought at Walmart, it's actually like the printer cardstock that you can get in the aisle where you can buy printer paper. It's really not doing too bad when it comes to these markers. I do want to invest in some Nina White cardstock. I did get some of that at Walmart, but it's definitely not the one that I see a lot of people use in my card making groups on Facebook. But I definitely want to invest in some good alcohol ink friendly paper, because we want it to go on smoothly and we want it to blend seamlessly, and at least that's what I want, so I'm going to invest in some good paper. That's on my agenda. Let's see, what else can I tell you? So not only do I like to do paper crafts, I do a lot of t-shirt designs for people in my area. They usually come to me when they need something made. I do that, and I really enjoy vinyl work. I use my Cricut for that. I do customize some gifts. I've made things like family signs with our last names, doormats. I created stencils with my Cricut, and the list just kind of goes on and on. I also like to can and preserve. That is a big thing of mine. I like to know what my kids are eating, so I do can. I also like to bake cakes and decorate. I like the decorating more than the baking. I like to do cookies as well. Again, I think I like the decorating more than the actual baking part. I do like to sew and read. I'm currently trying to open an Etsy store for some stuff that I've been working on, as far as some decorated coffee mugs. I eventually want to move into some other aspects along with handmade stuff that I've been working on, but I want to build up an inventory first before I get all that posted. So I'm trying to stay busy, but my goal is to hopefully maybe in 2 years not have to necessarily work a full-time job. I'd like to be able to run a business as my full-time job, and we'll see how that goes. I mean, I don't have a problem with my full-time job. I do like the people I work with, and I like that I can succeed fairly well at what I do. But I really have always wanted to make things for people and make people happy and run a business, and I think this is kind of where I'm headed. So we'll see how this goes. YouTube is just something new that for me, and I never thought that I'd post videos here, but here we are. Alright, we're going to go with this dark color now. This is where I have a tendency of messing it up, so let's hope and keep our fingers crossed that I don't have to do this video all over again. I'm just going to put some flicks here to kind of blend in this brown. I'm not necessarily trying to get complete and total coverage, but I guess I am, and the same. It's kind of hard to explain. I'm just trying to mimic some hair. I don't do a whole lot with texture yet with the markers. That's something I have not perfected. I'm better with the blending, so, and by blending, it's not that great. So, but I am a little bit more proficient in the blending than I am with the adding texture. So one day texture will be on my list of things to learn how to do. Let's just leave these markers open because I'm going to be blending out this hair here. There we go. See, I like how her bangs look. Let's see if I can get the rest of her hair to do that. So we're almost done with our card, minus this little boo-boo here, which I'm a little bummed about, but I'll put some more ink on that dauber and we'll be all set. So let's just go on this flower a little bit, get a little shadow of darker hair there. Okay. I'm sorry, I keep moving my space here and it's going to go out of the camera. Alright, well, since I'm still coloring, let me keep talking so you're not hearing footsteps like the herd of elephants upstairs, or my fireplace next to me that's kind of blowing out air at my feet. Alright, so I see such beautiful cards made on Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook, YouTube, and I just, while I wish I had unlimited funds for supplies, I don't. So let me make sure we got the right cap here. That is why I have tried to find ways to try to get as much out of my Cricut, because that is one of my investments. So I'm trying to get as much out of my Cricut that I have, you know, for the money that I spent. I am trying to acquire a second machine because I don't know if I like her hair. I am trying to acquire a second machine because of speed. When I'm cutting out stuff, either whether it's my Girl Scout shirts or orders, I need to save some time. I feel like money is time, and I spend a lot of time that I could be, you know, doing more projects or more work or more shirts or whatever the case may be if I had another machine. So I am trying to acquire another one of these days. And so I am going to find ways to use my Cricut with my close to my heart business, to make files for my customers or people in my Facebook group. Just because, you know, if you have the Cricut, there's just so many things you can do to add to your card making. Like this example, I didn't have those die cuts, so I made my own, and here we are, making a card like I've seen online, and I think it's going to be pretty close to what I will show you in the videos. I'll show you a couple. I will post those links below. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to carefully peel off this tape, and let's hope we don't have a disaster, because this painter's tape does not seem to like me tonight. At least from the back side, no one's going to see it. I try to always tell myself that a mistake is just an excuse for an embellishment, but unfortunately on this card, I really don't have a whole lot of room for some, but we'll see what happens. I have some cute ones that I picked up from close to my heart, and I'm hoping that maybe those will work. So I'm going to move this M out of the way. Let's go do the A. Here we go. Well, that one ripped a little bit. Let's just kind of put a little. Please do not ruin that letter. I mean, I know no one's going to see it, but don't ruin it. Oh, you guys are going to think I'm silly talking on my cards. But I'm usually down here talking to myself anyway. I'm not happy with this painter's tape. I'm going to probably use washi tape next time. I don't know why I was thinking the painter's tape was a great idea. It did work last week when I made the card, but today it's giving me a hard time. Probably because I'm trying to make a video. Let's see here. Huh, I'm not happy with that. Let's see if I can kind of... There we go. I think I sliced it so it doesn't rip anymore, but look what it's doing. It's still ripping. Well, if you ever try to make this card, don't use painter's tape. Use a couple strips of washi tape, because I apparently didn't put enough lint on here, so it's really just not liking my paper. It could be the actual cardstock I'm using, but again, I don't know. I'm just going to be really careful peeling this off, because I do not want to ruin my card. Alright, so I'm going to use tweezers to pull that off, and there we go. So the E, it's got her arm in it. So that's what you're left with. And so what I do next, after I get these letters out of here, is the fun part, putting it all together. I cut a piece of cardstock, made with the same cardstock. I cut it in half. This is going to be a sideways folding card, just like this one, and so it's going to open like this. So that was, I just didn't like that cardstock that I used because it just didn't seem sturdy enough to me. So like I said, that's why I chose to, I just used the Walmart cardstock, and I've made cards with millions of cards with, I wouldn't say millions, but you know, many cards I have made with that cardstock with no problems. Just, I decided to use painter's tape, and that's where the problem is. So let me grab the cardstock I cut, and let me get my scoring tool. We are going to score at 5.5. Okay, so we're going to score at 5.5 here. This is a Martha Stewart score. Is it a Score Buddy or a Pal? No, I think Score Pal is the other company that makes one. This is just a Martha Stewart scoring board. So I don't remember when I got this. I've had it for such a long time. I do like it. It works for what I need it to do, so that's all that matters. I think there are other scoring tools out there. That just happens to be the one I have. So let's make sure we're nice and scored here. And we're going to show you how I put this together. So I have a ATG tape runner. This works pretty well for cards like this where you don't have a whole lot of layers. I like to use a stronger tape if I'm trying to make it more bulkier card, or I use foam. Let's see what I got here. Let's do this and this, and then I have a glue pen here. This is a Zig memory glue pen. It makes blue glue, so you kind of see where it goes on. It's really light though. It dries clear, and we're gonna go ahead and just glue this all down. Oh, you know, another thing I wanted to share was this is actually considered a scrapbooking stamp set. Not that it's meant for scrapbooking only, because, oops, you know what we forgot to do? Let me grab this really quick. It's just kind of a bigger design. So, there we go. You could typically use it on scrapbook pages, but I like to make sure that when I buy something, I can use it on my cards, because I predominantly do make cards. I am only 13 years behind in my scrapbooks, so one day I'll be caught up, but it's only 13 years, so I will one day get caught up. Alright, so this is how I did it. Now we know that the A and the M are, well, you know what we need is a little marker, a little color in this fingertip here. There we go. Okay, so the A and the M are they're empty. There's no image on there. So we're gonna just go ahead and add this glue in here, because it doesn't really matter which ones we use. So we're gonna just glue that up, and then we're gonna grab our M and fill in that spot. It's kind of like a placeholder. Then we're gonna take our A and we're gonna do the same exact thing. Now, we're not going to use our fancy colored letters for the D, R, and E. And the reason we're doing that is because we want the colored image to be raised. So I thought I was grabbing my glue pen. So what we're going to do here is we're going to put a blank E down in here, so one of the extra ones that we cut. We're going to do a blank R at the bottom. And this is just kind of, like I said, a placeholder. We want to fill it in, because we need something to build our image up on. So we're going to grab a D, and this doesn't matter. I mean, you can use your scraps. I think I learned that on Jennifer McGuire's channel. I don't know why I never thought of it, but you stamp, you know how you stamp off to the side, or you have a scrap paper, just save them, and then you can use them to cut extra letters out of, because no one's going to see them. Such a great idea. So this is what we're going to do. Now we want, like we did in this card, like I did in this card, the stamped part that's on the, you know, that you would see through is down inside there. So we are going to place that piece down in its spot. And then we're going to grab an R. Oops. We're going to do the same thing. And this gives it that popped out effect. That is, to me, super cool. So, there is that. And then we're going to put the E in, and there is no, there is nothing there. So it'll just kind of look like it's going over the E there. So we're going to set this aside for a moment, and we're going to finish building up our letters. So we have one on the bottom. We're going to do 3 more blanks and then the colored one. So let me grab another, let's build all the letters up and then we'll glue them on, and then we will be all set. There's my last R. Okay. So same way I did it before, just put some glue on here. And then kind of stack them on. And what's nice is the glue stays wet long enough for you to, you know, adjust the letters a little bit, make sure they're lined up like they're supposed to be. They look like they're solid. We're gonna push it down and repeat. And then on the top is where we will glue our colored R like that. So let's grab this. Oops. Sometimes these nails are not worth having. I find that I do better when I don't have them, but my daughter thought it would be great for me to have acrylics put on to protect my nails and keep a pretty manicure because, well, I can't keep nail polish on for more than 5 seconds. So there's our beautiful R. And now we're going to work on another letter. And I'm just going to repeat what I just did for the R. Oh. So I hope that you don't mind that this doesn't have a voiceover, and I'm kind of just talking you through it while I make it. It does make the video a little longer, so I do hope that I can figure out that voiceover and I can speed things up when I'm just coloring or something like this where I'm just gluing. I mean, I have no problems, you know, chatting with myself, and then you guys can ask questions or leave comments and I can always address them in the next video. But, you know, my kids probably, if they didn't know I was filming, they would probably think it was weird that Mom's down here talking to herself. Let's see. Alright, we're almost done. I'm just going to line that up perfectly. Let's see, we got Bachelor coming on soon in a few minutes, so we got, I don't know if I have any Bachelor fans out there, but I didn't used to watch The Bachelor, but my best friend is always talking about it, and I always feel like a bad friend because we don't have anything. I don't know what to say other than, oh, that stupid show. But you know what? Sometimes I like the fact that it's a great stress reliever. You know, I don't have to worry about any troubles of the day. I can just zone in and watch all these people act silly sometimes on TV. I don't know, it's just not something I can do. I don't know if I want to go on a show and be on reality TV. I mean, this is about as reality as it's gonna get, and that's me talking to myself on YouTube. Look at that. Look what I did, guys. Put the letter on wrong. At least nobody's gonna know. Right? No one's gonna know. Let's just make sure that when I put it together, I put it together the right way. Let's just fix this. Guess what, guys? I did it again. Apparently, I can't see that these E's are backwards. Alright, let's glue these on, and I'll make sure before I glue the top on that I am putting it in the right direction so that we don't have a boo-boo. Let's see here. I think I made myself stick to my paper pad underneath. There we go. Okay. So we want this to go, yes. Good job, Leona. Sometimes I think that maybe not the perfect YouTube video sometimes. Might actually be a relief. It's kind of comical because, you know, I make mistakes on out loud or whatever the case may be. I don't know. I love all these great videos that apparently, you know, when they have studios and whatnot, but that'll be a long time coming if I ever decide to really push this YouTube endeavor that I've got going on here. My kids think it, like I said, my kids think it's awesome. They will watch my videos, even though they sometimes will be with me when I'm making them. They will then go on their iPods and turn it on so they could watch it again. And they're like, then they tell their friends at school, my mom made a YouTube video, and then all of her their Girl Scout friends and my girls in my troop are like, are you really on YouTube? So at least the kids are getting a kick out of it. Alright, this is the correct direction, so we're not messing that up. Now I'm just going to glue down 4 A's. Let's pop that centerpiece out. And let's pop this centerpiece out. There we go. Let's put these together. So what do you guys think out there? Do you guys like videos that are, you know, have voiceovers and amazing lighting? I wish I did have better lighting. I did have better lighting in the camper if I'd filmed during the day, but it's so cold outside that I really don't want to be outside, and now I'm in my basement, and I call it the dungeon. Now, for a house that's over 100 years old, it really isn't that bad of a space. It is a little chilly down here, but I have a little electric fireplace next to me. The furnace runs down here as long as the vent's open. And the only problem I have is it's hard to stand up, and I like to work standing up sometimes, but my ceilings just go a few inches above my head, and I'm only 5'3", so we're talking maybe like 5.5 feet, maybe 6 between the rafters. So it is kind of small. I have a big chunk of my supplies down here. The rest of them are outside in my little craft camper that we've been working on, but it's not holding the heat, and we've had some pretty cold days. So I don't have the best lighting. I do have I have 2 other lights I can bring out that I use for my photo when I take pictures. I got them for a photo box, and they may provide more light. I just don't know how much shadow they're going to give, and I don't want any more shadows down here. I can see enough down here on the paper. I have a light that's right over my head next to my camera, and then one off to the right of me, which is my aught light, and then I just have a standard light to my left that's our basement light. So it's not the best, it's not the worst lighting, but you know what, it works, and I'm warm, and I can hear my kids upstairs, so I can make sure that there's no fighting or arguing, or they're not trying to have WrestleMania going on up there. I mean, even though they're girls, sometimes you think the WWE was going on upstairs. And the last M, we are almost done. I am so happy if you are watching it all the way to the end, because I just feel like this video is going to be pretty long. And I like the faster videos for myself, but I usually watch them, you know, quickly, and then when I'm in cooking dinner, I just throw a video on, or I hope that's not lining up. So, I don't know. But then I also like the ones where you actually get to know the person, so who knows. Alright, so all of the letters are done. And now we're going to finish our lovely card. So we're going to make sure we put enough glue down, because I noticed on my other card I must not have put enough glue on that M. So, just line them up. Apply a little bit of pressure. This glue is pretty great. It dries pretty well and quickly, and I like that it doesn't really, a little bit goes a long way, and it doesn't necessarily ooze out the sides, although sometimes I do get it out the sides, so that's just probably more user error because I put too much on. So there we go. Let's go ahead and get our lovely E on. Alrighty, look at that everyone, we are almost done. So minus a little flub up there. Alright, rip the paper. Let's pretend that didn't happen. This card is such a fun card. I now can think of so many other ways to do this. Like I have so many stamp sets. Although I am, you know, a close to my heart consultant and I will try to show as many of their products as possible. I probably will show lots of other stamps. I am always out looking for a bargain. I buy off Facebook, for sale by trade sites. I buy off of, there's a few people I know that buy supplies in bulk and sell those, and I have purchased from them as well. I do like to help out friends if I can. Sometimes I find awesome garage sales, and unfortunately not everything is labeled, so I may have stamps from sets that I have no idea where they came from, and I'll try to do some research, but you know, we'll see how that goes when it goes. So anyway, so there's the card minus that little mistake. We've pretty much got a really fun card here, and I just like the fact that it pops out like that. It's almost like the paper's raised. But you could definitely just do a single layer, and you could do the pop dots, those foam strips or whatever. You can use pop dots or foam strips. But this is a lot of fun. And I saw that Jennifer McGuire did another video where she did something fun with the letters underneath instead of raising them. So that's another idea, and maybe I'll play with that idea one day. But anyway, if you're still here, thank you for watching. And until next time, hopefully we'll have another card pretty soon. I did do this one actually, and this is another, I'm sorry, close to my heart set. I embossed the Beautiful, and I cut, stamped and die cut the flowers, but I did use my Cricut to cut the letters out. So that is another card that maybe I can do on here. But I will come up with some more ideas. I have a group swap coming up for my team, and I need to get those done. So once I get those done, I will share those with you. And my daughter's box for her boyfriend, that would be great. And now that I'm going to be getting off the camera with you, I see where the hair needs a little bit more love. But anyway, here we go. I'm trying to blend that out. I don't like that. I don't like that solid edge there. Anyway, until next time, I hope you guys have a great night. If you watch The Bachelor, enjoy. I like The Resident too, so that's going to be on my watch list. For the people that are in my team, I hope you guys like the directions or like my long video better than my handwritten directions, because it was a long video. I'm sorry. But anyway, okay, have a great night, and we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.